Hi, welcome to episode 207 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my handspun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Thanks for tuning in today. How are you? I was just double checking to make sure that I brought my tea with me because that would be a weird episode. And I was like, I don't remember bringing it in here, but I just brought it in here and sat down. So clearly my brain is just off in another world. So hi, how are you? It is Sunday, November 11th. That means it is Veterans Day here in the United States. And then tomorrow is sort of the Monday holiday observed. I will still be working, but it's a federal holiday, so like the post office and banks are closed and whatnot, and it is a day where we give thanks for the sacrifices our veterans have made for us. So that is today, and this week has been, well, it's been a crazy week. For those of you outside the U.S. or even in the U.S., we had elections this week, and that added some fervor to the week. And I won't go into the results, but suffice it to say, I am pleased with the way things went, and there is still more work to do, but that was kind of the big hubbub this week here. Otherwise, I was fairly busy at work, which was nice, and I had some personal things happen. I released a pattern design this week, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more, and I'm actually working on a second design, which will be released in a couple weeks. And then I've got lots of knitting and a little bit of spinning to show you. So I guess let's dive in. Today's tea, I can't tell you much about. In my knitting group, we have several tea lovers, and her mom is Chinese, and she and her mom both love tea, and so she's been bringing me a whole bunch of samples, but most of them I don't know what they are because either they come in plain silver or gold bags and they're just like a sample of tea, or they come in something that looks like this, which is great, but I can't read it. So they are all some variety of green tea because that's her favorite, and I am drinking it today in my Poppies mug from the National World War I Museum. That felt appropriate as well, and it is the centennial year, but poppies felt appropriate for Veterans Day and remembrance. All of these have been really, really great, and I've been brewing multiple cups from them, and so they've been super, super tasty. And I think she told me, I don't know about this one, I think this one came from her mom, but some of the other ones that she gets for me are from Verdant, VERDANT.com, and I'm probably going to check it out and place an order at some point, but for now I'm enjoying the samples. It is actually a beautiful day here today. It is in the 40s. It is nice and crisp and perfect and exactly what fall is about. And actually it's a little bit too warm, but I decided to wear my sweater anyway. This is my Humulus by Isabel Kramer, knit in Prairie Spun DK. And it was Rain Cloud and Coneflower. Coneflower is the pink, and then Rain Cloud, or Cloudy Day, Rain Cloud I think, is the gray. And I have to say, this is the first time today that I've put it on and worn it for a while, and it is a little bit big in the yoke. So I potentially could have gone down a size, but I do like it. It's kind of a comfy all around. I just realized that there's like a lot of extra room up here, and sometimes it bunches funny, but otherwise I like it. It's super nice and comfy. Apparently I knit the sleeves too long. I followed the pattern. I knew they were long sleeves, and when I followed the pattern, I knit the stripe at the cuff because I really wanted that there, but the sleeves are just too long, so instead I'm folding up the cuff, and you're seeing the wrong side, which is the because it's stockinette. So you are seeing the wrong side and where I wove my ends in and whatever, but I don't care. It makes the sleeves the right length. And so this is a super cozy, super warm sweater. I think it's going to be great for the really cold days. Like I said, it's like between 45, it's like 45 out today, which is nice. Perfect, like just a little crisp, and probably not quite cold enough for the sweater, so I don't know that I'll keep it on all day, but it is nice and comfy and I am enjoying it. I am wearing a long sleeve shirt underneath, but I'm not noticing any real issues with where it touches my skin either. So I can recommend that, and I knit this as part of the Brown Sheep Fall Sweater Knit Along, which is being hosted in my group. Today is November 11th, so you still have about, let's think about this, 19 days to finish your Brown Sheep sweaters to be included in the prize draw. If you are still working on any sweater in any Brown Sheep yarn, you are welcome to enter. And it needed to be knit between September 1st and November 30th. I'll announce the prize winners in the first couple days of December. There is a sweater quantity of Lamb's Pride in the colorway of your choice up for winning from Brown Sheep. And then I also have prizes from Eucalan and Knitter's Pride. So, and maybe a couple for me. So if you are working on sweaters, get them done, get them in, and that will be the end of that knit along. Since we're talking about knit-alongs, I also started the November gift-along. This is anything you are knitting that is for anyone other than yourself. It does not have to be a holiday gift. It just has to be not for you. And I say knitting, but I really mean it's a multi-craftual craft-along. And anything from knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, and sewing has been accepted in the past. So while you are making gifts for the holiday season that you were already making anyway, throw them in that thread, and I will be awarding some prizes for anything you finish between November 1st and December 31st, and I will award those in the first few days of January. So I've seen a few people pipe up in there, but if you're working on gift knitting, come share with us what you're knitting, and definitely pictures when you finish. So I think that covers knit-alongs. Let's go to the next, let's go to knitting. I'm going to start with, I released a design this week. So I have been talking to you for weeks now about, I'm working on stuff in the background, but I can't tell you what it is. This is what it is. This is a cabled blanket. I am calling it Bubble Tea. And it is knit in Brown Sheep Stratosphere. That is their superwash DK weight, and it is in this gorgeous bubble cable, and then it has beautiful garter edges. The bottom ripples a little bit because of the cables, but I still like the garter edges the way they are. The entire blanket is 32 by 40, so it is the perfect lapgan or baby blanket. And like I said, I called it Bubble Tea because of these gorgeous bubble cables. I found this cable pattern ages ago and couldn't decide if I wanted to use it in like a lace weight wrap or a blanket or what. And when Brown Sheep came out with our Stratosphere, I thought it would be a really nice baby blanket pattern, and it's a new superwash DK, so I thought it would be a really nice yarn to design in. And I got really lucky. I put together a promotion and pitched it to Brown Sheep, and they provided yarn support. So like I said, it is an all over bubble cable pattern. I used size 7 needles, and I ordered 5 skeins of the DK, the Stratosphere, which comes out to about 1,300 yards. I used about 1,150, and I ended up with a nice generous sized blanket. You could size this up or down depending on your needs. The cable repeat is actually a repeat of 20 stitches, so you can add 20 stitches more or less to the blanket, and you could make it a really nice car seat blanket, or you could make it a bigger blanket for like snuggling on the couch or on your bed. But like I said, I stuck with throw and baby blanket size, and I don't think the camera is doing the yarn justice. This is their Tree Line, and it's kind of a bright fun green, kind of an apple green almost. Anyway, so this is my new pattern. It has been tech edited. I did have a test knitter who is still working on hers. I mostly waited until she had gotten through a couple repeats of the cables. And like I said, I did send this off to a tech editor because it is impossible to tech edit your own work. And I released this pattern on Ravelry this week. So it is Bubble Tea, and if you are interested in knitting it, I would say it is for probably an intermediate knitter. You do need to know how to cable, and you can do that with or without a cable needle. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward because the cables are like stockinette and everything else is reverse stockinette, and then there's just a garter border. So that is the design I released this week, and that is what I have been working on because I was feverishly trying to knit the sample in the last month or so. I had most of the pattern designed, but I just needed to knit it and take photos and all of those things. So I put that up on Wednesday this week. So that is what I've been working on. So let's talk about the other knits. The big one, of course, is NaKniSweMo, and that is National Knit a Sweater Month. It may almost be too late to join us, but not necessarily. I am knitting what I hope will be and should be a 50,000 stitch sweater for the month of November. I always do. Unfortunately, last year was the first year that I knit the sweater, but I was very unhappy with the results and ended up ripping it out. But almost all the other, well, pretty much all the other years since 2010, I have participated and ended up with a great sweater. So this year I am knitting out of Lammy Toes, and it is her Sweet Pea Sport 80/20 Superwash Merino Nylon, 328 yards to 100 grams. The colorway is Sweet Tooth, and I special ordered this sweater set from her, and I was a little bit concerned that I might run out of yarn in the project, and she is such a sweetheart. She agreed to dye up another skein for me. Of course, it won't match the other skeins perfectly because they are one of a kind, hand dyed, but hopefully it will be close enough that I can just sort of alternate it in with the other skeins. I am alternating skeins anyway because with hand dyed yarn, it's a good idea to do that. Anyway, so let me show you. The yarn itself is a speckled, it's a kind of white, off-white, and then it's got pink and purple and blue and orange, and I don't think that the screen is doing it justice, but I will show you where I have gotten. Last night, the sweater is in kind of an odd construction. It reminds me a little bit of the Baby Surprise jacket from Elizabeth Zimmerman in the sense that you are knitting kind of all in one piece and then folding together to get the look to get it all. It reminds me of like origami, the way you kind of fold it together and the directions you're knitting in. So it starts with I'm sorry, I don't know if I said what the pattern was, and now I'm thinking I should say that. It is Waits by Bristol Ivy. It is a top-down cardigan. It has a twin, which is Newsome, and Newsome is knit from the bottom up, and this one is knit from the top down. So with Waits, you start around the neck, and then you start increasing out for the sleeves and back, and then ultimately you pull the sleeves off. And so that is exactly where I'm at now, and I will try and show this to you in a way that makes sense. So last night I was able to pull off for the sleeves, so now you can probably see that it is starting to look like a sweater. Basically, I have knit the fronts already, and so the fronts are now knit, and I could try it on last night, which I did. I'm afraid the sleeves are going to be a little bit big, but I didn't really want to rip because everything else seemed the right size, so I'll have to take a closer look when I get back to the sleeves. I did need to make the decision now because of the way the sweater is constructed, and like I said, I think the sleeves might be a little bit big, but I think I'm going to continue on because I like everything else. So we're going to see how that goes. So this is the front of the sweater. Like I said, you've got your sweater fronts and then the sleeves here, which I pulled off for. And then now I am working on the back, and the back is knit such that it's basically going to be a mitered square. It'll come down in a triangle. So these sides are going to kind of wrap around, and then the triangle in the back is going to narrow to a point. And so it's going to be kind of a mitered square back. I don't know how else to describe it. You can see some of it in the photos, and obviously you'll be able to see mine as I work on it. So that is, I'm making good progress. I am at about 32,000 stitches, which is why I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit 50, because my guess is I'll hit 40 before the back is done, and then that would leave me only 10 to have to hit on the sleeves, and I'm sure I'll hit that. So it's probably because this is a sport weight sweater. I am knitting the third size, which I believe is 41 3/4, it was suggested you knit the size that yields 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. And I probably would have liked to be a little closer to 2 inches rather than like 3 3/4 because I'm a 38 bust. But the next size down was like 39, I think, and that was going to be too tight. So, because I didn't want that little ease. So we're going to see how this goes. I think this is going to be like a cute, it's not like super cropped, but it is slightly cropped, and there isn't a good way to elongate it. She gives you a few ideas in the pattern, but there isn't a great way to elongate it because you want your mitered square to come to a point in the back. So the way this is designed, you only knit so far and then you're done. So I am pleased with that, and I'm fine with that, and I think it's going to be a nice length sweater, particularly with dresses. So that is what I'm working on this week. Again, I will show you up close. I just love this yarn in the squishy garter stitch. I've wanted a speckle knit cardigan for a long time, but I had trouble choosing something that I thought would knit up really pretty and be super wearable. And the one thing I like about this is I could pretty much put a dress of any color on and it would be fun with this. So, yeah. So that is my NaKniSweMo sweater. It is looking good, and I am excited about this year's finish. The final 5th skein should be to me this week, so I will take that with me on my trip. I'll discuss that more in a few minutes, but that is my NaKniSweMo project. That is getting almost all of my attention right now, as you can tell, and that is in my knit and stitch bits in my crazy llama, or I guess it's camel. I don't know. It looks like camel bag that I really like. I love her bags. I have several of them, and she has been kind enough to give us a couple to give away on the podcast. And they're soft and pliable, but they also have enough interfacing in them that they will stand up on their own. This is her largest, which is like her big sweater size. I also have slightly smaller and then a much smaller one. And I just really like her bags. She is out of Australia and can be found on Etsy as Knit and Stitch Bits. So my next project is working more on some socks for Roxy. Last week I showed you I had a cuff, and now I am almost done. I have the first sock complete. This is Opal Sweet and Spicy, and I believe it is in the saffron colorway. I think this was the 2nd season, but I don't remember for sure. Anyway, this is a cute little sock for Miss Roxy, and I am working on the second one. I just finished the gussets when we went out to lunch today. So I just have the foot to do, and actually my plan is to try and finish this off this evening, and that will be 3 pairs of socks for Miss Roxy, so she will be all set. Next, I want to knit a couple pairs of socks for Miles. And the good news is that he has even smaller feet than she does. Her socks are 48 stitches around. These I have just done a basic vanilla sock recipe, which is I knit like between 8 and 10 rows for the cuff, and then I knit, I don't even remember how long I knit the leg. I didn't knit the leg hugely long, but because I want to crank these out and because I wasn't entirely sure how much yarn I had left, I did a heel flap and gusset and then just doing standard knitting down through the toe. For Miles socks, I have leftovers of this one, which is Oh Christmas Tree, which is from Leading Men Fiber Arts, and it is a nice, super soft, it is their show stealer base, so I can't remember if it has, cashmere in it, but it very well might, because it is awfully soft, and it knits up like this. I actually knit up a sock for Roxy, and the deal is that I knit a sock for Roxy on 50, I think I may have talked about this last week. I knitted on 52 stitches, so it's like, aside from the length, it's almost big enough to fit my foot, which is just silly. And so I was going to save it and knit her a mate to go with it next year, but I was looking for things that aren't pink and purple, and I think this would make great little socks for Miles. So I'm going to start the socks out of what I have left, and if I need to, I'll just rip into this one and pull it out. I don't mind. So yeah. So I didn't want to rip it when I thought maybe I'd just knit a second sock and give it to Roxy next year, but I feel like I want to use this for his. So, and then I also pulled out the leftovers of several weeks ago. I knit a hat for hashtag hat not hate, And this is actually a thicker, it's probably more of a sport weight. It was some yarn that I was sent from Sweden. I don't think it's Swedish yarn, but I was sent to it by in a swap package from someone from Sweden. That is the name of it. I don't even want to try to pronounce it. And it is all different kinds of blues. And so my thought is that I'll knit him up a pair of socks in this blue self-striping. And then he will have 2 pairs of socks. And so that is what's going to keep my needles busy for the next little bit. The other thing I pulled out, so let's talk about knitting in the next few weeks. My husband and I are doing our annual trek to California to see my parents for Thanksgiving. And we are also adding on a little bit of pre-trip. We're going to see his family first. So we are adding on kind of the weekend before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be gone for, I believe it'll be 9 days. And I plan to take lots of knitting with me. I plan to take my NaKniSweMo sweater. I plan to take whatever I don't finish of the kids' socks beforehand, because we'll be seeing them over Thanksgiving and I will be giving them their presents over Thanksgiving. So I need to finish those first, obviously, but between going to see his family and driving out to California, I've got several days of car knitting, so I'm sure I can make that happen. And then I want to bring along a few things for me. So I am going to bring along that beautiful hand spun that I showed you last week, and I'm going to start the Canyonlands shawl by Nim Teasdale. I was inspired by the Fat Squirrel, Amy Beth, and also by Amanda So Nitpicky as they knit their Canyonlands. I think Amy Beth knit hers in handspun as well, but I know Amanda did. And it's just a shawl that starts at a point and increases out, and it's got kind of a zigzaggy, and it's just great for stripes. And I'm super excited about it because I'm pretty sure I got the yardage I need to just make an enormous shawl. And that yarn that I showed you last week was the Hello yarn. It is Falkland, like berries on a bush. And I think I got over 800 yards, which is amazing for me because I don't usually spin quite that thin. It was 2 bumps of fiber, so 8 ounces. And I'm just excited to start that project. And then the final thing I'm going to do is bring along some stock yarn for me. And I had wanted to knit this year going into the fall, and I put it away somewhere and just did not know where I put it. But this is Nomadic Yarns, and it is in the Rhinebeck sweater weather colorway. And I ordered this a couple years ago, and like I said, I wanted to try and knit it in September, October, because that would be Rhinebeck. But I didn't get to it. This is on her Brit sock base, which is 400 yards, 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. And I am looking forward to a pair of stripy socks. It's got some brown and some plum and a bright blue and an orange and a yellow and a red. And it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous colorway. And so this will be my first time knitting with her yarn, but it feels lovely. And my plan is to start on these for myself. While on our trip. Excuse me. I should not be yawning, but because I slept late this morning. So that is what's on my knitting needles. So let's talk about spinning real fast. Spinning, last week I showed you a bump of, let me think about this, Hello Yarn fiber in Rambouillet in the colorway Hover. And this spun up beautifully. It is purples and golds and kind of some browns and a little bit of blue, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It fluffed up after its bath, but I still think it's going to be probably 350-ish to 400 yards, and that will be going up in the shop this week if you have an interest. It would make lovely socks, although it is not superwash, so you would have to wash them carefully, but I generally find them not that hard on my socks, so it's not really a problem. But it would also be great in either a night shift or any of the fading projects that Andrea Mowry is doing with handspun yarns these days. So if you are interested, think about it for that. This week I am spinning. It is a Falkland wool top called Passing Cloud. I believe this was a shop update fiber from Hello Yarn. I lots of Hello Yarn, and I've been trying to kind of go through and spin down from stash a little bit, especially in the last several months. I still do have a Hello Yarn Club membership for a single dose, but at this point that is the only fiber that I'm getting in. So I am trying to kind of work through years of fiber stash, and so I'm pulling things out. I think I bought this one a couple years ago, and it has purples and some yellow and some brown and some blue, and the yellow, kind of the yellowy brown sections are what is spinning up the most right now. This is 2 ounces because the other 2 ounces is already on the wheel. I started it yesterday because I am hoping to get this one finished and up into the shop before I go. The shop will be closed for some of the time that I am gone, because I won't be able to keep my shipping commitment, which is 1 to 2 days from order. So what I am going to do is I'm going to close the shop this Friday evening, and then I will reopen it the following Friday morning, Black Friday, and we'll be open through the weekend, and we'll ship on Sunday. As soon as I return, I will put together all the packages and get them out Monday morning. So if you are looking for something for gifting season or to shop on Small Business Saturday, I would definitely appreciate your orders. If you're not, that's fine too. I just thought I would put a small plug in for that, and hopefully this one will also be listed in the shop by then. So that is what's going on. As I said, we will be traveling the next 2 weekends, so I expect that I will not put up a podcast next weekend. And what I will probably do is do some taping while we're on the road. I was thinking about maybe doing the Fiber Friends tag and maybe sitting with Wes for a little while and asking him some questions if you think that would be interesting. I don't know whether you guys would find that amusing or not. My guess is my husband is super, super, super sarcastic and super dry humor, very straight-faced. So it could be a little weird, and a lot of people don't know whether he's joking. So if he says something weird, he's joking. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a little bit of that, and then maybe publishing that sometime during Thanksgiving week, like maybe while I'm at my parents'. And then I'll probably miss the following weekend, like the end of Thanksgiving, because we'll be driving home. But I will probably do a podcast on Monday, which would be I don't know what dates are. Okay, so today's the 11th. Next weekend would be the 17th. Sunday would be the 24th that we'll return. And so maybe on the 25th, I'll do a podcast. So we're going to be a little off for a couple weeks. But that kind of happens around this time of year. I won't be traveling for Christmas, so I will keep my schedule for Christmas. So that is all the news that's fit to print. As a reminder, get your stuff into the Brown Sheep sweater thread before the 30th, and I will be doing prize draws for that. If you are working on gift knits, you are certainly welcome to join them in the gift craft-along, and there will be prizes for that as well. I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving holiday, since I probably won't talk to you again before then. So if you are in the States, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family and friends. If you travel, please travel safely. I hope everyone is happy and healthy. And I will talk to you guys after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving. And until I see you again, I'll say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.